I've been watching the stuff kicking off. I've been watching what's going on. I've been listening to what people are saying, and yeah.
He's been watching, guys. He's always watching. Always. What's up, True Crime King? Back. Sorry, I haven't been putting out too many videos. I've been very busy at my full-time job. But don't worry. I'll get back in the flow here pretty soon. Anyway, I've had some member requests to react to this harsh reality fellow. Numerous people have told me he's kind of I'm trying to think of a word that won't get me demonetized, but we'll just keep going. Anyway, let's just see what he's got. Here we go.
Yes, I've got opinions. I didn't want to say anything earlier because I felt it was a little bit too soon. I wanted to see what the general feel of everything was and whether people were on kind of the same wavelength as what I am.
Well, why does that even matter if people are on this thinking the same way you do, right? Just say how you feel, right? Why? I mean, what are you afraid of the backlash, right? Like, I just say how I feel. No matter, just give my opinion, right? It doesn't matter. I'm getting bashed because there's so many people out there that still think Brian Koberg's innocent, but I don't, right? I didn't go out there and gauge the wavelength before I made my decision, right? Be a man, boss. Oh, and yeah, next time you leave a comment, just make it a little shorter, harsh, because I couldn't read that whole freaking thing, man. It was just I'm just too busy. Just make it as short as possible. 2 or 3 sentences is fine, but an email and a comment is just too long for me. Thank you.
And what do I mean by that? I mean by, look, it gets to a point in the Idaho 4 case when so many things have happened, it gets to that tipping point where you have to start admitting how wrong things are, how things do not fit.
Okay, and don't forget, he gauged everybody's wavelength, right? He knows there's tons and tons of people out there that don't believe Brian Koberger is guilty yet. They still think he's innocent. And of course he's gonna get more views if he doesn't just say, oh, he's guilty like I am, because then he wouldn't really have anything else really to talk about, right? About the Koberger case, right? And these guys, they want to milk this Koberger case until it gets to trial for all the views that they get for it. That's what they want to do, right?
The overarching narrative, if you like. And what do I mean? What do I mean, I hear you say? I mean this, look.
And don't forget, he's gauged everybody's wavelengths and opinions, right? So this might be some what he thinks and a lot of what everybody else thinks, right? So we don't even know what he actually thinks, right?
What we're trying to understand, and what I mean by we, I mean the people who are still not 100% convinced that Brian Koberger is guilty. And look,
see, he keeps saying we. Why don't you just say I? I believe this. Like stand on your own 2 feet, boss.
Look, I get it. There's people who are, and you have every right to.
That's me. I think 100% Koberger is guilty, and he's going to be found guilty. That's it. See how easy that is for me? Like I didn't have to go and gauge people's wavelengths.
You have every right to your opinion, just like I have my right to my opinion.
Oh, well, thank you for letting me know I have my right to my opinion. I really appreciate that.
The people who want to give him the benefit of the doubt have the right to their opinion, and so on and so forth. And I saw some comments, and they were like, oh, well, you're saying that Brian Koberger is innocent until proven guilty, but you didn't give the same sort of understanding of the roommates who survived. And I've got two words to that, and that is fuck off.
Yeah, so this guy is what everybody was telling me he is. I don't want to get demonetized.
And I say that wholeheartedly, and I mean it, because the things that
because all of my videos have been getting demonetized, just about every one of them. So I'm going to see, I'm not going to cuss in this one, and I'm going to see if they still try and demonetize it.
questioned them on are things that should be questioned. And you would also question had you had skin in the game. But because you don't have...
Oh, I do have skin in the game. I am a content creator just like you. I get backlash. So I have skin in the game.
Skin in the game, you can wash your hands of it and point the finger and...
Here's my face too, right? I've got my skin in the game. I'm in the game.
Tell people they're wrong if they dare to question why it took these people 8 hours to call 911.
I will say, at least he doesn't, at least he takes his glasses off, or he doesn't wear glasses like Daniel, right? I'll leave the rest for after he responds and see how he responds to me. If he wants to go back and forth, I can do that all day, every day. If he wants to take the nicer approach, then I would prefer that way. But we'll see how he responds to this video.
Said it and I'll say it again. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't say that you heard something or you saw someone and then take 8 hours to call 911. You can't do it. If you was asleep, if you was nutted off your face because you've been sucking on magic mushrooms until the cows were flying, then I can appreciate it. But just say it. Don't turn around and say that you're an eyewitness. You watched someone come in, you watched them to the point where you can say what their eyebrows was like, but then try and say that we shouldn't ask why it took you 8 hours to call 911.
Okay. Well, I will totally agree with you on that. I don't think it should have taken Dylan 8 hours to call 911. I totally agree. And you can go back and fact check me. Go look at all my videos. I have been questioning why Dylan did not call 911 since we knew about it, right? But that has no bearing on whether I think Koberger is guilty or not. She could have called 911 immediately. I still would think Koberger's guilty, right? So really, I mean, what are you trying to say? Of course, she was probably either scared, number one, or number two, it was most likely she was just on some kind of drugs or really drunk, and she just didn't want the cops there yet, right? But we're gonna find out at trial, if it goes to trial. She's gonna have to tell us why she waited that long, right? And then if it doesn't go to trial and Koberger pleads guilty, then I could care less why it took 8 hours, as long as we get to the bottom of who did this and is Koberger guilty or not, right?
So that is one of the big points, but this is the major one.
Okay.
And that is, if it was Brian, how did he get into this house? First of all, how did he get there and why did he go there on this specific...
Okay, well, he got into the house through the back sliding door, which I'm sure was just left open because they always had parties in there and they always had people coming and going, right? Or it's just a sliding door, right? We saw in one of the pictures, one time they tried to put like a stool behind it to kind of block the door from being open. But 99% that slider was probably wide left open.
Pacific night, and how did he know he wasn't going to walk into a house that had 30 people in it?
Okay, to that point, he was stalking them. What do you mean? We know this. We know Koberger was always at the University of Idaho. We have multiple witnesses saying that Koberger was there so many times that they thought he actually went to the University of Idaho, when in reality he had no business being there whatsoever, right? We have his the cops that we know about, right, have his cell phone being around that area multiple times. I'm sure, and we saw from multiple news outlets, you could just go in the back where those woods are, see right into the house, right? And nobody would know you're there, right? So it's not that hard. And Maddie and Kaylee, they didn't even have blinds on their windows. You could see straight into the house. And you could see straight through the sliding glass door. You could see straight in through the whole back side of that house. So if you were a stalker, like Koberger, I think was, you would have no problem knowing at 4 in the morning, when there's no cars there. Wouldn't there be tons of cars there if there was tons of people there, right? You would hear music blaring, or if they were having a party. Like, what do you mean, man?
That's my big question. Second one is, how did he do it as quickly as what he did and get out of that property as quickly as what he did without...
Okay, let me address that. Okay, you walk in the back slider, okay? You walk up the stairs, right? How long does that take? 20 seconds. Let's say he went to the empty room first, right? Opens the door, sees the dog, sees no one's in there, shuts it, right? Okay? Then he walks right over to the other bedroom, opens it, okay? There's two people laying in bed. They're either trying to sleep, or even if they see him, he has a knife that is designed. The only thing it's designed for is to kill people. Okay, the other two, Maddie and Kaylee, are unarmed, and they're women. They are a lot smaller. Koberger takes the knife. He does what he does. It doesn't take hours, right? That takes minutes, if that, right? Okay. Then he shuts the door. There was there was a little struggle, but he drops his knife sheath. Okay, that doesn't take too long. Then he goes downstairs, goes into the other bedroom, does the same thing, shuts the door. He's walking out. Dylan, hearing this, is peeking out of her door. She sees Koberger walk, and they make eye contact, and he just walks right by her, walks right back out the sliding glass door. How hard is this to understand? It doesn't take that long. Everybody else is unarmed. They are being surprised, right? I mean, how long do you think this is supposed to take? And if you are trying to murder somebody, you're going to try and be quick. You don't want to stay in there for 1 second longer than you have to. You want to get in and out because you don't want to get caught, right? The point is to get in and out as fast as possible, right? It's probably most likely why he didn't want to try and kick down Dylan's door and get her, because he wanted to get out. How hard is this for anybody to understand? He had a big knife that was designed to kill. He surprised all of them. They were in bed. I've said this so many times. It wouldn't take that long. Um, what do you guys not? What is this guy not understanding?
Out anything taken from him. And what I mean by that is any evidence, any DNA from these victims. What we have.
Okay, and to address that point, Kohlberger wasn't even on the radar for over a month. He was probably covered in blood when he left that house. Covered, right? And I'm sure there was plenty of DNA in that car, right? He had over a month. We know for a fact he cleaned his car top to bottom, inside and out. We know that. People saw him doing it. Duh, it's not that hard. He got rid of everything. He's not going to get caught that night with all the stuff on him. He got rid of all the evidence. What do you mean? Where do you think the knife went? It's at the bottom of a lake somewhere, dude.
From the people who talk about this crime and what happened.
So I just addressed every single one of your points, and I just told you how it could be done, and that's just one theory of how it could be done, and how it could be done exactly like to fit the timeline. So don't tell me that can't be done, right?
Is it wasn't
like, what do you think like Navy SEALs do when they go into a house to take care of people, right? They get in, do what they gotta do, and get out. It doesn't take hours. Like, what? Or all these other killers out there. Like, what do you mean, man?
nice. It wasn't pretty. And I'm trying to remain YT friendly to a degree, but you know what I'm talking about. If you've heard the reports and the statements made by like Steve Gonsalves, we know no one's doing this and then walking out of that property, getting into their car, going home and not bringing something with them.
Okay, like I just explained. Okay, and shout out to Karen. So in my other video, I gave the shower curtain theory. Let's just say he took his shower curtain, put it in his trunk, right? Lined his trunk with it. He had another set of clothes on underneath. He goes out the house. He takes the clothes off. He throws everything in his trunk, right? He wraps everything in the shower curtain. No DNA, okay? Has a bottle of water and some bleach. Cleans his hands real quick. Minimal DNA in the car, okay? Then he has over a month. He gets rid of everything. He cleans his car. He gets rid of any other DNA that was in the car. And that's where we're at. How hard is this to understand, right? I mean, what is it that you guys aren't getting? I think that, again, this guy is just doing this. Number one, he already admitted he's basing his opinion off of what other people's wavelengths are and how other people are thinking about this, right? And number two, I mean, the cops are 100% convinced this is their man. They aren't out there looking for other killers. There isn't anybody else being killed, okay? The guy is caught.
I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it.
Well, okay.
If this person is supposed to be that sloppy that he left DNA on the knife sheath, but then he was so meticulous in his cleaning that he managed to get it out of the car, off his person, off him.
The knife sheath got knocked off somehow, obviously, right? He didn't want to leave the knife sheath, but what's he gonna do? Go back to the house and try and get the knife sheath after he knows he lost it, after it's too late, after he left the house? He has to go with what he's got now. The knife sheath got knocked off, dude. he's just messed up. He underneath that button, he left his DNA. That's it. I mean, how hard is this to understand, man?
And out of his home, out of his parents' home.
It isn't as complicated as he's trying to make it seem. Okay? And a lot of people are trying to make it seem that it's so complicated. It's not that complicated. I just gave you the most likely scenario that happened. And if it didn't happen that way, it happened in a similar fashion. And Kohlberg is going to be convicted. That's my opinion. 100%. We only know probably 20% of the evidence against Kohlberg. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Nothing. Even, I'm guessing they've tested the Hoover that he would have cleaned the car with, so they would have checked every single thing. And all of the rubbish from the waste receptacles, everything. And as far as I'm aware, as it stands at this moment in time,
we don't know if he didn't go to a car wash and get the freaking power washer and power wash his car. He was only seen with the vacuum or whatever. He had a month, man. He had a month. Over a month. I'm just estimating.
DNA that they have is a spurious, questionable sheath with...
Questionable sheath? Questionable? What do you mean, questionable sheath? It was a K-bar sheath. The victims were killed with a K-bar. Obviously, the mortician can tell that, right? Because that has a guard. Okay? When you get stabbed, it leaves a mark, the guard. And you could tell how deep the wounds are. Like, what?
A bit of his DNA.
Okay, and here's where all you guys are getting confused. You're thinking a bit of his DNA means touch DNA. Wrong. DNA is DNA. Touch DNA is a method that is used to sometimes collect small amounts of DNA, okay? They now have his cheek swab, which is not touch DNA. It's not touch DNA. I mean, how much more clear do I have to be? It doesn't matter if it was a small amount. Okay, it was his DNA on the sheath. That's it. End of story. Okay? Some of you guys are still commenting, and it's just so ridiculous. I don't even let them through because you guys, if you don't have common sense, then I'm not even going to let your comments through. I love having different opinions, but if you can't even understand this concept, then I'm not going to make other people dumber by letting some of these comments through.
And that's it. If that's all they've got, tell me. And if you still have him.
And what do you mean if that's all he's got? We don't know what else they've got. There's a freaking gag order, dude. I mean, what do you... And I'm going long on this video, but I don't care.
Pinned 100%. 100%. And you don't think anyone else is involved? You don't think he's got any way of walking from this?
No. Well, someone else could be involved. Dylan didn't see anybody else that we know of, right? Well, we don't know. There was a gag order. And I'm sure the police would have arrested somebody else if they didn't know for a fact Kohlberger did this alone. I'm going to trust the police and the FBI. It's not just the Moscow police. It's the FBI, dude. The FBI. The United States Marshals. It's everybody, okay? It's not just a little Moscow police department. It's all of them. The top best guys were on this case, okay? So it wasn't just James, the chief, Fry, the chief. It's not just him, okay? It's the FBI. It's the best of the best. They have their man, guys. They have him. And I can't wait until he is, boom, convicted. And then I'm going to go back all these guys. And I'm going to have so much content. I'm going to have years of content. And I'm going to go back and react to all these videos. So
you definitely think he did it. Please tell me below why you think that.
Well, I didn't comment. I did you one better, boss. I have my skin in the game. I have my face, and I'm speaking directly to you, Mr. Harsh, at Real Harsh. I'll tag you in the title.
Why are you so adamantly?
So, and I want you to please let me know how everything I just said could not have happened. I want you to debunk my story, okay?
Sure that he did it.
If you can debunk my story, Mr. Harsh, then I'll change my mind, okay? And I will give you $100 cash just for free. I'll send it to you immediately. Okay? So make a video, debunk my story, okay? Somehow, which you can't.
I've said time and time again that many of the people who have the opinion that he is completely guilty, when you ask them why, they come back and they give you a reason, when that reason was something that was said by the likes of Jennifer Coffindaffer, or it was...
And then he wants to seem like he's a super nice guy by saying, by having the Star Wars themed words come out saying thank you for watching, when he just told everybody to F off if they don't agree with him, right? So whatever. But that's my take. Just use common sense if you're going to comment, or I'm just not going to let him through. If you still think it was common sense, guys. Until next time, True Crime King out.